that 7 minutes was packed with so much. When we drill down deeper into it, it connects back into the internalization. So the solution is really the internalization. If we haven't internalized the solution ourselves, how in the world can we expect those people that we're selling to, working with, partnering with, our family, our spouse, our children, our grandchildren, people like you? So internalization is the solution, and there's an entire submodel underneath solutions that connect. It's an awakening. Why? It's insight. It's purification. It's radical change in thinking. It's not, oh, that's nice. It's radical. That gives us leverage, which then leads to change, which then leads to failure, and then humility, and then we start the whole process again. I just love both of these models so much. Thoughts, Tom, questions, insights on this?
It's not something that's just going to jump off the page at you and you pick it up. You've got to go through the process of looking at each one of the items, going through the lessons, internalizing each of those different steps, and then it's like the clouds start to part, and there you are. It's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I see this before?
Right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, wow. So if we do not internalize, and this is, what Tom shared, if we don't internalize the 7 T's, time, talent, treasure, trust, truth, temple, and thought, for all those individuals we are connecting with, then we won't question, listen, see, think, and in the most effective way, and then go to present the solution, well, they won't buy it. Whatever that is. Again, it could be a product or service, or it could be a value system. Right now, at my age, with 5 grandkids, I'm far, 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 far more concerned about the value system being transferred. That's the inheritance I want to give far more than the financial. If people do not buy into the solution we present, we didn't have the leverage we could have, and we lose additional leverage that we gain. So we go backwards in time in what we're doing. So when we look at connecting this in to the DNA for people, DNA for business, DNA for life, the analytic, apply all of the analytic frequency that you can muster with your 2 art buddies, and then ask them to be, for their honest opinion of how strong they think your analytic frequency is. This is engagement. This is why the material, Tom and Peter and myself and all the others that have participated in putting this course together, we want the material to come alive for you, but it won't come alive by listening to Tom, Peter, and I. It's going to come alive when you go ahead and get with your art mentor and they help you, and then you help your 2 art buddies. And so with the amiable, it's the caring, it's connections for solutions. So apply all your amiable frequency you can muster with your 2 art buddies and ask them for their honest opinion how strong they think your amiable frequency is. And then the expressive energy for solutions. And so apply all your expressive frequency you can muster with your 2 art buddies and ask them for their honest opinion how strong they think your expressive frequency is. And then the driver, apply all your driver frequencies you can muster with your 2 art buddies and ask them their honest opinion on how strong they think your driver frequency is. So we're going to have a primary frequency and a secondary. My primary is driver and analytic. Tom's is expressive with strong driver and strong analytic. And so the amiable might be the frequency that Tom and I, struggle maybe the most with. But I've seen Tom be more amiable than the most amiable people on the planet. When we look at think of solutions for an analytic is share the details. So leverage analytic frequency. You have it inside of you, even if you're a third born, even if you're like my daughter Melissa, who's like all expressive, all driver, but she can be analytic. And so share the details, use the analytic frequency to gain leverage. For your amiable, leverage amiable frequency, leverage the caring and the connections that you have. For the expressive, share your energy and leverage expressive frequency in sharing your energy. And for the driver, share your power. So share details, share connection, share energy, share power. And so when we do that, we gain leverage. There's something out there that seems to be where people have all this fear. They're afraid somebody's going to take advantage of them. They're afraid to introduce leverage the course to their family or friends because maybe their family or friends won't like it. So I am banking on leverage to save 5 marriages that mean a lot to me. Some are close and some just brand new people I've just met, but I still care about their marriage a lot. There are so many things that leverage is tapping into. So who in your family, who in your friends would benefit by going through leverage, and you can go through it again with them? Think of solutions as it relates to when you're presenting to an analytic personality. They want to trust your details. They really do. But if you don't have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, you're going to lose leverage with the analytic. So when I was in the mortgage industry right out of college, I knew on a 1003, I knew on a good faith, if I was 10 cents off, I'm going to lose leverage with the analytic because they're not going to trust anything I do. I mean, I can't have one misspelling. I can't have one thing wrong. So we lose leverage. We lose trust with the analytic when we don't dot the I's, cross the T's, make sure everything's done properly in order. They want to think that you've thought through the details. With the amiable, if you're working in a relationship connected to an amiable, they want you to bring people together. I was talking this weekend is my wife and I's 35th anniversary, and after mastermind seminars, and if you ever can go to a mastermind seminar, I'm telling you, go to it. They're all over the country. Go to one that maybe is the farthest away, and you'll get the most from it, actually. I'm just saying. But anyways, after one of these, I was going around the table and doing a debrief, and that's the best. Come early, stay late. That's when you're going to get the most from it. But I was asking my wife and everybody, and I said, what do you all think that maybe, I could do better? And she was introspective, and she said, Mark, I think sometimes you blow the things up that you're building. She's deep amiable. I'm deep driver. And she wasn't saying it in a bad way or spite. It was introspective, like really deep, and I'm thinking, well, sometimes you have to blow things up to rebuild them because they're stuck or something. But I really worked on that. That's probably 7 years ago, I'm guessing. And so I think I'm much better now at communicating my heart. So the amiable wants to bring people together. They want you to see the gifts that each person has. And that's something that Tom is like an expert at. I think it's why, and I think Peter's an expert at it too, I think that may be the number one talent that they have, is to see that other people have gifts that they don't have that are needed, and they know how to put these gifts together like in a puzzle. The expressive wants you to have energy, passion, and excitement. They want you to have the ability to inspire people. You might be saying, well, wait a minute, they have energy, excitement, and passion, and, they want to inspire people, or they inspire people. Why would they want you to be able to do it? Well, the driver, again, that's my highest energy, highlight power. They want you to drive and hit goals. Everything changed when I had my first grandson 7 years ago. My daughter had our first grandson 7 years ago, little Danny, and I want to just play with him. I mean, I don't want to drive things forward. I'm just getting tired of it. I'm like 55 years old, and I'm like, you know what? I want other people to drive things to hit goals. I want to just play with my grandkids. That's going to be the highlight of this upcoming Mastermind Seminar to Annapolis. I mean, I'm going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see, Peter and Tom are both able to be there. That's going to be so much fun. But the most joy that I will get is probably seeing Tom and Peter interact with my grandkids, my 5 grandkids, because they'll pour into them like crazy. They want you to do things no one else can do, so that way they don't have to do those things. So, Tom, questions, thoughts, insights on this?
No, to me it's pretty self-explanatory. It is. You just took this chart that you have on the screen and just think through the process and just use it in your own life. I mean, just apply yourself to it. I think you'll start to understand it a lot better.
You know what? If people don't succeed with leverage, do you know why they won't succeed with the course, Tom?
Because they'll give up, or they feel like it's over their head, or got all kinds of excuses, I guess.
I think the number one reason is they won't care about other people and nobody will care about them. See, the thing is, Tom...
Do you think that's the number one reason why they sign up for it?
There's a lot of reasons why people sign up. I don't think it's to care for other people or be cared for. I think it's to, it could be a lot of different reasons. But the hardest thing to embed into an online course is caring. See, our art group, the one that you and I are part of, it was really so cool that, Emily connected with you and talked about fundraising. So I've worked with Emily, I think it's going on maybe 3 years now. She's a single mom out of Philadelphia area. She has 2 amazing little boys, and I work with her every day, and I've never met her in person. And I cannot wait to meet her. And I got as much of a thrill out of her talking to you as one of my 4 daughters talking to you. So, Tom...
We had a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah, and that's where sometimes you don't realize the magic that you possess. And again, if you don't have something, you can't share it. But also, if you don't know you have something, you might not be able to share it either. So I'm going to ask Tom to share the story. I don't know if you remember. You'll remember the story, but I don't know if you remember when you told. I think you were driving, Tom, and you were sharing about the early years of Century 21, and one of the franchisees was having challenges, problems financially.
Oh, yeah. One of the master franchises. Yeah.
Master franchises, sorry. Yeah.
It was the master franchise in Florida. And I'm hearing this story from a third person. But this was early days of the organization. And at the time, Art Bartlett, the president and founder, stood up and just wrote a check, put it in the hat. And they had a U-shaped table. And he just said, one of our friends is in need, and passed it around. Saved the region. Everybody contributed. Everybody contributed money, but almost everybody else contributed whatever they felt that individual needed to save the organization. Now, it's interesting thinking back on it, that, yeah, it was pretty interesting to see them just open up and share. But I think they also had a sense of that if this partner goes down, What does that do to the overall organization? And therefore, they were all connected from the standpoint of success, and they, the sum of the parts was far more greater than any one of the parts. But any one of the parts was extremely important to the success of the overall organization. Does that make any sense?
So, Tom, I did not catch that part of the story when you first told it.
I don't know if I said that first part of the story.
Well, the part that I thought you were there.
Oh, I was not there. No,
so can you explain to me, like you had the exact same response then that you do now, how in the world, if you weren't there, how in the world do you get choked up every time you share that story?
Well, I think it's because I was in the organization early enough that I knew, excuse me, my voice is a little rusty today. I think the reason was that I joined the organization early enough that I knew all of the original founders. I knew everybody who was sitting at that table. And I think that the main thing is that I saw numerous of those situations take place while I was with the organization, even though it was strong when I got there. But the other solution is that I had the opportunity to have one-on-ones with everybody who was sitting at that table and listen to not only that situation, but to listen to numerous others and how they all banded together to help each other become successful and grow what became the largest residential real estate franchise in the world, collectively, because of those guys sitting at that table.
So there was one time when Tom and I were doing a mastermind group, and he just, like, out of nowhere, he went ahead and said something that nobody else has ever said to me in my life before or since. And even now, I can't even, like, I couldn't speak. I mean, tears were just flowing down my cheeks. And in one of the calls, I don't remember which one it was, he said, none of you, none of us will know the sacrifices that Mark's wife has gone through and that his kids have gone through to be able to share with us today what he shared. Like, Tom understood that the biggest price was not the price I paid, but the price my wife and kids paid. So if any of you see my wife or my kids and get a chance to meet them, and my grandkids even, like, if you thank them for the sacrifice that they also paid, this isn't just me paying a price for putting this all together, but they did too. And that's really what, with leverage, that's really what it's really all about. I mean, it's about a community. It's about coming together, like your whole company coming together and learning how to use positive leverage, but more than that, building a community. Like a community that really cares. Not talk we care, but when one of us is going down in our art tree, that we could go ahead and get together and we could say, hey, this person's going down, and there's enough care in the community that everybody pitches in to say, no, that's not the case. We're not going to allow that person to fail. We are going to step in and help that person. So in going through this, it's so much more Like it's so much more than what we're sharing. Like it's the heart, it's the soul, it's the essence. People out there want to belong to something that you can have lifelong connections and lifelong relationships. People want to belong to something that's bigger than themselves. So all of this intellectual, hopefully, like it's really cool. It's lots of fun. Like we've enjoyed putting all of this together for you, for us. But it's so much more than that. And if we don't understand the essence of why this is put together, it's to raise millions of dollars for so many great causes. It's to help you as a business to see greater success, but it's to create a legacy. Like all my grandkids, they're going to go through this course. They're going to see Grandpa's heart. They're going to see Grandpa, that Grandpa is, man, is he a caring guy. And he's pretty good with details. And he's fun, too. Like, he's so much fun. And, yeah, he's got quite a bit of power. And he wants to use that power, you know, in a really beautiful way to impact the world. So there's so many. Go ahead.
Is there one other thing, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it kind of gets back to what we were talking about before. I was asked by the company I work with now to do a presentation on retention of real estate agents. And so, I mean, that's a pretty easy thing. You sit down and you talk about all kinds of tools, systems, stuff you have, yada, yada, yada. But then it finally dawned on me when I looked back and looked at the company I had in San Diego, that the most powerful retention tool I had in that company was when we took a look at all of the salespeople that we had, and then we took a step back and looked at who stands behind those folks. Who are the people? Is it brothers, sisters, mothers, dads, husband, wife? Who is it that stands behind that salesperson? It gets back to what you were talking about when I talked about, you and your wife and your kids. And because they're the ones that are giving up the thing that allows that salesperson to do what the salesperson has to do so that they can earn a living to provide for the people standing behind them. And so as a company, I knew that if we just took care of the people behind the salespeople, they will hardly ever leave you. In fact, I had instances where I had a salesperson come to me and say, I was really thinking about leaving the company. And I talked to my wife about it, and she looked me in the eye and said, you get up in the morning and get your back in that company because they care about us. So I hope somebody who works with salespeople understand you want to retain them, look who's behind them, and then you'll retain them.
Wow. So we're going to go into the bonus session here in just a minute here. That's when it gets to be real fun because we're able to, talk further about these things. Hopefully you've stuck with it. Well, you have. You've stuck with it. If you're here, you've stuck with it. But there's 2 more lessons, and if you think this one was good, like now it's just starting. Like now we're just building momentum to be able to really do it. Go in into the members only and make a comment. What's your one word, and what does that one word mean to you? And there's so many more things that, when you're done with the course, you're not done. You're at the beginning of the journey because there's so much more in the DNA for people, DNA for business, and DNA for life. We've just scratched like the surface of what it is. And there's, one-on-one coaching and mentoring. There's seminars and workshops or mastermind groups. You can become certified in it. Like whatever you want to be able to do, it gives you the capability to do. So if you have any questions, connect with the individual, your art mentor, your art buddies, the art host. That's the key for your success. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless and have an amazing day. We'll take a short 5-second pause and move into the bonus session. Here we go.